Alright. I'm still not fully understanding this bounce other than that. The NASDAQ. Well, technically, there was this where we took out the lunch low and we took out all the smooth liquidity, manufacturing it for later. That's what it seems like. Maybe today or tomorrow, or who knows when. But yeah, we didn't get NASDAQ just kept going lower, and then we finally got that SMT, but that was where things kind of got decoupled a bit, and now we made new highs here where NASDAQ's being really weak, and we got a little divergence on ES, but that's where I need to go to the higher time frame again and mark out what's going on. Alright, so we've basically rebalanced some of last week into a premium. So yeah, YM is still respecting these fair value gaps. This was an old inversion on the weekly with the daily nested into there, and then all we did was soup above those smooth highs, relative equal highs, and we got Russell SMT above this high. And then on the 4 hour, we've got this guy. Let me make this a little bit. Yeah, I kind of like the darker color. Vivi, see you. Alright. So yeah, and then we also had this old relative equal low liquidity level. So we kind of souped back up into that, which was why I had it still marked out. But yeah, now it's been souped, so I'm just gonna leave it there, especially because we manufactured it there too. So that makes a lot of sense now that I'm looking at it. So I could still see this coming up another time. Just because there's inefficiencies here and the way that Russell took this high out. A lot of the times we go into like the most maximum or minimum premium discount rate for the entry. Okay, so technically it's this high here. Dun, dun, So this swing high here. And then check the bullishness. So there was a 4 hour here. We respected that so far. Yeah, I like the darker colors. This didn't really shift over the last high structurally, but on the 1 hour, yeah, of course we did. So yeah, 1 hour we shifted here, that delivered into this liquidity, immediately rebalanced, but holding up the premium end of the range makes it seem like it would want to go up again. And we created relative equal highs there on the short term. We got relative equal highs here. So it seems like we'd want to come back up for some reason. We've created relative equal lows. Oops. Alright, so there's relative equal lows there into, which will just be below midnight. That's what I would just say. I'm going to delete this for value gap. Or at least shrink it. This daily gap's kind of been already done enough. This is not red anymore. And then this has been filled, but it's been respected this whole time. So there's something going on here. We use it already though? There was a new day opening gap here. Or no. Oh, that's the news gap. Okay. Alright. Man, this is just YM, dude. There's just so much going on. Trying to figure out this puzzle. Alright. Well, yeah, there's some with this high. It seems like we've souped these highs. We've already souped it. But we have this inefficiency here, and it's lined up with some sort of propulsion-y looking block where we had a little uh, fair value gap here that didn't close above CE, and then came down, traded below it, and then boom, traded into 50%. So maybe this is something. It does wick all the way down into here, so that's why it's a little tricky. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. It lines up with this inefficiency here. But yeah, I don't want to read too much into it. I'm a little, I don't know the logic with all that stuff still. Yeah. Yeah, this is pretty clean. There's relative equal highs here too. I'll make it a little thicker because it's hard to see. Just gonna leave it over there just for reference. But yeah, on the lows, we got a little inefficiency coming into there. This has all sort of been rebalanced on the downside. We do have equal lows here. We've got smoothie kind of lows from Asia, and then relative equal highs from London. So yeah, I think this take another step up. If this is just manufacturing the short all the way back down, which would be kind of cool. If I could frame risk, let's just see. If we got the entry into the order block. Yeah, right about there. Risk that high. Oh, crap. Yeah, I mean, you'd want to at least get 3R out of this, which, interestingly enough, is exactly at that area. Yeah, and I honestly, it'd probably trade even higher into there. You could even be like, oh, it's gonna trade it to into there. Because this level is pretty clean. Totally like manufactured that with all these lows, swept all those out, not displacing higher or shifting higher. Yeah, kind of just a technical area. Just like, yeah, I mean, this was tricky just because I missed the, which is exactly what we need to also look at. Whoa, what the? Spy keeps having these massive wicks. I guess this was yesterday, but. Also, this could just be bullish. I might be looking at the wrong side. Okay, so IWM had some equal highs here. Does that make sense? Sweep that out. This high was the, yeah, was the news high. I'm listening to the margin call song. Alright. I just feel like there's so much to look at. I'm like lost. Let me just look at Russell. So yeah, there was some equal highs here. So yeah, we got souped there. That was there. We just launched into all that liquidity. And this is the GDP. Nope, consumer cost. Wasn't it gonna tell me? Whatever, dude. I'm just gonna mark it though. We'll mark that high, which there was no news right on there yet. Yeah, we've had a nice soup. Let me write all this down, dude. I'm getting a little lost. What the heck, man? My daily planner, dude. This is why it's confusing, because YM took out highs while NASDAQ ES took out lows. So it's like decoupled. You know, it's like why if there's gonna be like a divergence, you'd want to see them be into like the order block or like near the level, and then that's where you get in. But it's like, where do I get in? How do I get in? So it seems like it's something with Russell and Dow. It seems like that is either the play, or yeah, maybe we're gonna get a little manipulation to get us back into tandemness, whatever. All right. So yeah, Russell sweeps these highs. We souped it. Nice market structure shift here on the 1 hour. And smooth highs right below that. So it seems like if there's a 2022 model, that might be it. And that would be back above the true day open, which is kind of what I'd want to see if we were going to get something like that. So possibly something like that. Maybe back down below these equal lows. It's a lot of risk though. Okay, almost 3R. It's still worth it. Okay, and then just quickly look here just to see where the real level is on a smaller time frame. So technically, wow, yeah, technically it's this high, just this little swing high. So yeah, it goes all the way up into here, which is exactly where we created old SMT. All right, well, is there some sort of bullish narrative coming into play here? Well, we delivered up into here into London. We basically got an SMT there with Russell failing right there. Technically didn't take the high. But then we got the move down. Russell has delivered below Asia. So maybe there's a long setting up here maybe on the next leg lower. But we'll see how that plays. And yeah, there's something going on here, man. As for the lows, let's look back on the higher time frame. Daily, we came up perfectly respected that. Well, is it perfect? No, 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 it's not perfect. But yeah, I mean, it's respecting something there. Um, oh, there's a new week opening gap there. Okay, an old one. We trade through it. Boom, came back, touched it. Okay, suit the highs, tag the new week opening gap. That's nice. Okay, as for this is now an inversion, a daily inversion, which is just so. I need to stop drawing so freaking far out, dude. Goodness. All right, 4 hour. So on the downside, we've kind of filled all that in already. I don't think we hit a discount on the daily, did we? We didn't hit a discount. Well, now we have a lot more to reach down into, which is still below that low. All right, so yeah, if we're going to reach into discount, this would be the draw on liquidity there. Below this low, is there anything nice below that low? Not really, just the 4 hour. But it is like a double whammy there. All right. So yeah, maybe we're already starting that move. We're about to open in a few minutes. Looks like we're already getting some sort of little move there. Um, yeah, I mean that might just be the move there. It might have just been just a tough entry for the invalidation at least. So maybe maybe this was the entry. Maybe it was just the Nasdaq here. We had the low come in here. We had the discount divergence. Nasdaq swept into a discount. ES manufactured that as a low with basically a support resistance zone liquidity thing there. Boom, we come and take this out. Nasdaq remains weak. Nasdaq was the one to create SMT at the high, which means ES should be the weaker one. So this is a manipulation. You sell short here into the order block. That's exactly what I was looking for. Nice little order block short into London. Um, Maybe a little market structure shift somewhere. Boom. Oh, not technically not there, but 15-minute definitely there. And then this is like your re-entry here into the 8:30 into the open if that's gonna play. But yeah, I mean so far, yeah, good enough, you know. If that's the short, I don't know. I haven't really looked at these that much. I'm just thinking there's something going on here. Maybe it's gonna come up into there. Dun, 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 dun. They might manufacture this all week, honestly, because there's no news today. We've got crude oil inventories after the open, and then the bond auction after lunch. So I'm thinking we may just chop until maybe we'll get a little move off of the bonds or off of the oil, and then maybe we get some sort of if we come up into here into lunch and that with the divergence and stuff all there, that would be pretty clean. Seems like. All right. Yeah, as you can see, there's technically the trade is there. This one is just not my trade. There's more nuance to it than I know. So if this is the short, otherwise my style is to wait. And what else? We can look at ES and Nasdaq on the daily. Oh yeah, this was interesting too. How this is just respecting on the daily. And then on the daily so far, it's rebalanced. We've come up into this 4-hour market structure shift, respecting that on ES. So that's really clean there. And this is an inversion here too. Double inefficiencies. It's not even closing candles up into there, maybe on the 1 hour. Yeah. So yeah, I think this is going down now. Yeah, look at that. Looks like we're getting a nice move so far. Dow Jones and Russell getting a nice move. Yeah. And yeah, this was. Does ES take out the news high? No. Oh. Yeah, so we just opened a minute ago. Ooh, just got the chills. All right. Smooth highs here on NASDAQ. Let's go back to finishing my analysis. So yeah, NASDAQ yesterday perfectly closed into the daily fair value gap there. That's kind of what everyone's been doing, respecting those higher time frame levels. And then here, yeah, we got the clear market structure shift. So we're 1 4 hour. But NASDAQ did come down and take out those pools of liquidity. So maybe, yeah, maybe ES is just along there. Yeah, I just don't know, honestly. Like, and now NASDAQ's gonna come and take out these highs, and now ES is weak. Did ES tag? Oh, we heard, yeah, ES came and perfectly tagged this order block, which is the is a London low, and this is a London high. Maybe Nasdaq's about to come do the same thing. Or not. I don't know. Yeah, Dow Jones really coming down. This is just too decoupled for me. Because now Dow's going down, Nasdaq's going up. It's just like, yeah, just a little too many moving pieces to keep track of. Yeah, we've got crude oil an hour after the open. So it's just kind of it's a good time to look for maybe the entry on something. Well, YM just took out PM and Asia, equal lows with lunch. So there's something there with yeah. I mean, you might have been able to long Nasdaq there to those highs at least, if not if not the actual other high, might go further. Yeah, so far no trades. Don't know if there will be one. Interesting. Nasdaq just barely took out London high. Yeah, this is not my type of trading, dude. I mean, yeah, London was pretty setting up for something, but it's just some sort of reaccumulation on the short and they go. There's no news. There's no red folders, which is just not my thing either. Well, Russell and Dow are kind of like caught up now to where these guys are. So I almost wonder if Yeah, I don't know. Well, you know what? I think I'm overthinking it. I think what happened here was this was just a divergence from the Dow over the high, Russell over the high, ES was the cleanest entry, and then we just so happen to also get NASDAQ divergence there too. And yeah, this would have been the weakest one to short. Um, yeah, ES took the low there. Yeah, maybe I'm just overthinking it. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't awake during London, so that's just tough because it's like, how do I know? How do I know that this high is gonna hold? So it's just like maybe the only entry really was just right there on NASDAQ, knowing that this would be where to frame your risk. You could have just entered on this order block here and then just had a larger stop, or yeah, waited for that sweep, which is exactly what happened here yesterday. So yeah, I actually think that might have been the trade that I should have looked for. I just was so stuck on like what the Dow and Russell were doing, but just because it didn't come all the way up, that means just okay, don't trade it. Maybe there's something else. I don't know though, because this, yeah, oops, this is just like I need the whole trade to make sense. So maybe, yeah, I don't know. We'll just tape read this and see what happens. Like, yeah, maybe this was the short, but at the same time, Nasdaq was the one to already break everything to the downside. So it's like I don't know. It's like this is the one I'd want to actually start looking for longs, and just because it was the one to manipulate lower. Yeah, this didn't ever come up back into there. This was like the area it would have made more sense to me to look for the higher time frame reversal. So maybe what's happening is this is just bullish, which I'm not against that. I'm actually kind of for the bullish idea. Um, and maybe that's why this is so confusing. Maybe I should be looking for longs. Like maybe this is the long down into here. Yes is about to tag that. Hmm. Yeah, I mean this might be a long here. What are the flows right now? Not the most bullish. It's oscillating. Holdings is bullish. Yeah, holdings is pretty dang bullish. Interesting. Let's look at the 1 minute now. Yeah, maybe that was along there. These are just liquidity pullbacks. Russell took out relative equal highs. Dow Jones took out relative equal highs. We had sort of that purchase on liquidity on NASDAQ. NASDAQ NASDAQ waiting for things to look bearish so that can go up. Alright, things are looking pretty bullish here. Interesting, we came down on ES to barely tag the wick on that order block. I would have liked the candle body. Well, we've got the move lower below Asia. We've already got the S&T on Asia. We got the S&T on Asia. And we got S&T with NASDAQ. And Dow Jones, NASDAQ came and held strong at this low. NASDAQ came down. Now we're getting a change in character manipulation here. Yeah, I think that was just a AM open SMT long with the 830 level, possibly. Yeah, 830, boom, takes it out. I mean, would have been a little cleaner for me if it came down to there, but yeah, that might have been the long actually. Just keep changing my mind, man. Back and forward. But yeah, look at that. Yeah, I kind of just lost conviction in the longs only because I kind of misread that stuff the other day. So I need to remember that that is still in play. We just had a clear SMT at these lows for a long. This already delivered. We're just sweeping out some liquidity here. We have just manufactured that lunch low. Maybe we're gonna get an SMT here. I don't know. But now things may be changing. I want to see ES actually get bullish and go up with. Now, I think this is going to be a ripper. I think this is just going to break this high here, but we'll see. But we'll see again. We don't know for sure. for sure. Maybe it'll be another reshort. Confusing, dude. Yeah, I should be zooming in. That's the problem. I should be zooming in onto price with a no news day. What's volatility? Down with equal lows. Down with smooth lows. Nice. So yeah, NASDAQ, I'm gonna run for that equal high there. Mm-hmm. Well, now we've got the same thing happening again. Dow Jones and Russell just look like they want to come all the way down. Just looks like it's looking over a cliff right now until this low. Wow, that is so crazy, dude. Still a short, maybe? A long and then a short. Yeah, I think we're just waiting for this to deliver. I think these need to deliver to the lows and then something. Then we can decide next. What's next? It's like a long and then a short down to maybe these lows and then back along maybe. It's just gonna be a little bit more of a scalper's day for that. Yeah, interesting. I think I kind of want to try the one contract long if we get into the order block. Especially if Dow Jones comes into there, which we got an alert for. Yeah, that's so funny. It gives a short, takes out the internal smooth lows, but the intermediate term liquidity actually just gets even more manufactured. And then they take out the high where they manufactured the high. Now the high's taken. Now they're going to go back into that now intermediate term, possibly. But they came and took out the short term, the internal range of this range. And then maybe they're gonna run back up to. That'd be crazy. That'd be kind of funny. There's the exact same thing that happened yesterday. SMT, but with the lunch low. That was just so weird. Same playbook there. Boom, boom, boom. Weird, dude. Nasdaq still hasn't taken out that high, but looks like it wants to, man. ES is starting to go up too. And then never check. That's great. That is gnarly, dude. Wow, is he gonna do it finally? No. That's crazy, dude. That is crazy. Oh man, there you go. That's crazy. Just can't make a decision there. But yeah, I mean this it just looks like it wants to take that out. I don't know if it's gonna do it right now, but it seems like it's still manufacturing the long here, and yeah, I don't know if this is enough for. I mean that's the same exact way we bounced yesterday, but just too smooth of a zone to. Well, there is SMT though with Nasdaq. That's the thing. That is the thing. So maybe this was the relative strength buy actually into the order block. Maybe this was the relative strength buy on the Dow. Yeah, there's the order block right below London, and then we manufactured London, and then we swept it. Or, sorry, lunch. That's not to say that's the real low, though. It could come down a little bit more. Nasdaq. Man, that's so funny. Dude, all the frustrated people in Nasdaq right now. That's so funny. That used to be me. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I just would have rather had this. That's why I'm not like fully convinced. If ES had come down and tapped right into that order block or the new big opening gap there, which just happens to line up with the order block, I just would have liked that a bit more to get long there. And this is all good enough though on the Dow, in my opinion. If yeah, if I'm right. You got the SMT with Nasdaq. We come up, sweep the high. We come up and sweep the high, which gives us this move down. But then, and then we get a big manipulation below the low. Yeah. Yeah, it's only, that's just literally the one thing. It just, yeah. I mean, technically, this is the whole order block, you could say. or this. That's like the CE of that. Which, if you're framing this on a trade all the way up into here, is pretty good. You just use the, yeah, just about the CE of there. Maybe you just use the wick. Let's just say you use the wick, use the low, target the highs. Yeah, I mean, that's still a trade there. Just seems like you should be able to get a little bit more risk reward in this type of a trade if it's gonna. And look, maybe that's what we're gonna get. And I would think there's like a little trail stop area here on Dow Jones, so we may just go down into there, possibly. Lows have actually flipped bearish on SPY, but Tide is like it's over, still bullish, just has a little pullback. And Q's is still bullish, and Q holding. So yeah, it's still kind of supporting the long here. I just think that we may come down for one more sweep, and then maybe that's going to be that order block tap. And then now we've got 30 minutes into the news. So yeah, maybe that's the alignment here. Is now we're getting into the news and we're going to get the long. Is there a pool of liquidity for Dow Jones higher? Yeah, I mean just smooth highs. Yeah, this inefficiency up there, it's pretty clean. So yeah, if you could get an entry here below this low, that'd be pretty good. 131 down to, so yeah, 50 points or 10 times 5. Yeah, I'd try 2 down there. Oh yeah, there NASDAQ goes. Yeah. There NASDAQ goes, finally taking out that high. There we go, we've taken out smooth highs on NASDAQ. And what that means here is I just think the strength is back into NASDAQ maybe. If it's gonna pull back there, I would just think it's reaccumulating. I think it's that was just a very obvious draw, at least for now. So yeah, maybe the news is gonna get us to really push up through there. Maybe they're gonna manufacture it into the news for people to get short because we're at resistance, and then they'll give it a small pullback and then boom, rip it through. see that happening. Yeah, there you go. Probably something gonna happen here into the news too in the next 20 minutes. Sleep score was 78 to 80 something. Said my deep sleep sucked. But my aura ring says it's 85. I think that one might have been off. Usually the sleep 8 gives me a better score, and when it gives me a worse score, I think that's when it can tell I'm like moving around and I'm not really resting. So, yeah. Yeah, that was long. Yeah, I just should have squared away that logic that NASDAQ had taken out that low and nothing else had. And yeah, Dow, Russell, they had pools of liquidity above. They do a nice little delivery of that upon the NASDAQ doing that. They pull right back into it, confirm into this. Yeah, yep, it makes sense. Just didn't. It was kind of a little tricky. Yeah, I think this is gonna go for these highs. And yeah, I think this was a long or that was a long here. Internal range, which would have been pretty good risk reward. You could have just targeted the order block as your first major PT, and then the next above the highs and the smooth highs. So I think it's probably gonna come and sweep all this into this order below. Can't see. I think it's gonna come and sweep this out. Maybe tag the order block above it. Maybe. Well, yeah, I think that might be it for me. It's just a nice little tape reading session. And I'm just gonna mute it and let the stream run. That way I can just review it later. But yeah, for now I'm just gonna mute and see what happens at the 10:30 news and then call it there. All right, now the real question is is this the short like I was talking about earlier, or is it still possibly just gonna re-offer the long? I mean, Nasdaq's rejecting. It's kind of what you would expect, but at the same time, it's like, okay, is this just going to deliver lower though? Especially since we have that. Well, flows are still they're looking reversally, but seems to be still bullish. Q's looks pretty reversal, but yeah, I'm still leaning towards the long side. But I've got news in 13 minutes. This is the time we'd expect something to happen, and we kind of had something already there. Maybe maybe ES is gonna come down into there. ES has kind of got smooth lows this whole morning. Everybody does. Plus, are pretty bearish looking now. Hmm. Looking pretty heavy. ES still never hit the order block. News is like right in a minute here.
Order filled. Order working.
Got in really small on NASDAQ just to be in if something's gonna happen here. News is about to hit in 10 seconds. Here we go. On Russell, we've got a fair value gobble set up, but yeah. Oh, the tide, yeah, really bullish on the flow now. Volume isn't really matching, but yeah, it's in the calls at least. Whoa, spy flow is kind of going weird, going wacko. It's weird, it's just on spy, and the volume isn't picking up with it. Yeah, I really want to see some volume come through. We are bouncing, but it's not like this crazy. When we came down, price did diverge from the flow. It was still overwhelmingly bullish for like what was happening in the price, and then now we're getting some crazy premiums coming through. Volume is starting to come up, but just not there yet. But at the same time, we still had a lot of volume, but while price was doing the opposite. So looking good so far though. Took a little 1%, little 60%, $60 risk, so very tiny. But the target for it's pretty big. I mean, I would suspect it at least to come above this high, which if it's going to do that, I would think it's going to go for this liquidity up here. Let me just zoom out actually and see what's going on up here. Just on a higher time frame. We got that wick up there, 1 hour chart, 15-minute chart. Yeah, honestly, I'm just gonna target the new week opening gap, which is at like 245 and 247. So yeah, just basically right where I'm at. I honestly think we probably head all the way up into these highs, but just gonna be conservative. I mean, this is looking good though. Sweet. Oh, well, just gonna let that play out. Um, is it worth moving my stop? Well, we just had the news. We already tagged the order block. Price has kind of shifted away. Came down and tagged it. What's the 5-minute chart look like? Well, yeah, if we get a shift above here, then yeah, I'll definitely move it to break even. That way, it's either a home run, small risk, a little leagues home run, or it's a just yeah tape reading day, which I thought it would already be. So I'll take anything honestly. $50. I'm happy with $50, dude. All right, now let's get this candle to not respect this. All right, don't want to trade too much lower, but dang it. Okay. Well, that doesn't mean it's over, but if we can get some displacement, that's what I'd like to see. We're right back up into the inefficiency that we kind of traded into before. Honestly, this little inefficiency being formed might be enough for me just to at least move my stop up. Because all this is doing is just tagging that as like a breaker. That's what you call it? Yeah. I would allow it to come back below here without getting scared, so I'm just going to move it to break even. Perfect. Then we're basically done, dude. All we gotta do is do something else now. Man, I really can't see this color though. Let me open the gap. Let's do a darker color. There we go. What about that? Yeah, let's do blue. Yeah, just about 247. So that's good. Just leave that. And do we have any other sort of yellow folders that could screw with this? This week. Nope, just the bond auction at 1. So come back after lunch, see what's the happenings. Yeah, just gonna mute this, go distract myself. You know what? ES just took out the news level, and Nasdaq just kind of tapped where the candle opened. So, and there was like a gap there. So I'm actually just gonna exit here and call it. It could very well keep going, but honestly, the risk reward was really good on that, and I don't want to let this come against me when I could have had a small win off of like no risk. So, um, yeah,
Order
good enough.
cancelled.
And the reason why is because it happened right into lunch, and it started rejecting. And look at the Dows. So I'm just happy with that. I could just see me being wrong about this idea still, and that it was just the internal range too. And there's no news, no red folder, so there's not like a huge reason to expect us to go take out some external liquidity for this range at least. And that's the thing, it may still come up, but yeah, given the EV, in my opinion, I think that was the right. If I had more contracts, then yeah, I would have taken like 80% off there and left the rest, but I only had one, so that's that's the logic there. Oh well, would have been nice to hold it all the way up to there, but yeah, good enough, man, good enough. And let's see the flows. Didn't even look at the flows, but yeah, puts were coming up there, calls coming down. Could just be just for the just for the moment, but yeah, just not having partials and not being able to take some off is just a big deal to me. So, but yeah, that's the play. Honestly, there may be another trade today with the post lunch, but yeah, we'll see.